Hi, my name is Tom, and for the last 13 years, I have lived in a constant state of vigilance, always watching my back. That ends today. It all started when I was 20 years old, in college, and working as a pizza delivery boy for Pizza Hut. I enjoyed the job, but I especially liked one aspect of it. Every delivery was different, and I loved the thrill of not knowing what to expect when I rang the doorbell. Were my customers going to be an elderly couple looking for a doughy meal for their grandson? Was my customer going to be a lonely bachelor eating alone in his apartment? Would it be a couple ordering dinner for their date night? The thrill made things interesting. That is, of course, until the day of the incident. It was 11:45 p.m. This would be my last delivery of the night, and I was glad it was a high-end residence, as they usually commanded generous tips. I referenced my notes, apartment number 707. I clicked the 7 button on the elevator. Soft classical music played as I ascended. A large vase with vibrant flowers sat at the corner. Gold railings surrounded the perimeter of the elevator. A spotless mirror laid overhead as a ceiling. I stared at myself above me and scoffed at the absurd degree of extravagance. A ding alerted me of my arrival. The doors swayed open, and I exited in search of apartment 707. I stood at the front door, double-checked my notes, and gave it a hearty knock. No answer. No answer. I raised my clenched hand to try one last time, when the door clicked open slowly. The door opened only a few centimeters before stopping. A pair of eyes stared at me from the crack. "Who the hell are you?" asked a rough female voice. "Pizza guy." She grunted something and began to walk away. I stopped the door from closing entirely with my foot. This wasn't unusual. Customers usually left to go get their wallet or purse. As was my personal habit, I took a step under the threshold, held the door open with my foot, and waited. I didn't like to intrude in people's homes. "You're letting the air out," bellowed what sounded like a second voice. Laughter followed the statement. I entered and stood in the entrance of a long hallway. The door clicked behind me. I stood in a dimly lit and dirty hall. At the end, the living room's only source of light was a television. Its changing images illuminated the room erratically. I walked forward, telling myself everything was okay, but the situation continued to worsen. Along the walls of the hallway, dark blotches were scattered throughout. Was that blood? The wallpaper was torn at various locations, and small sections caved inward, like small craters, as if someone had kicked in the wall. My uneasiness increased. I continued to walk and arrived at the living room. What I saw there went on to shape and dictate the rest of my life. 4 people, 2 men and 2 women, sat throughout. 2 men were on a couch, talking enthusiastically. On the far right, a woman sat cross-legged in a long dress. She chewed gum aggressively. One hand maneuvered her phone, the other twisted her hair. The second woman, similarly dressed, sat on a third couch, her purse at hand. All couches were facing the center of the room. Nobody acknowledged my entrance. The room was a bit messy. A few chairs were knocked over and empty beer cans were scattered. But it wouldn't otherwise be an unusual setting for a group of friends. That is, if it weren't for the girl. At the center of a room, a girl sat on a long chair. Her t-shirt was ripped in various places. A blindfold covered her face, and her hands were tied behind her back. Her head hung low, revealing low brown hair clumped with blood and pieces of flesh. The visible parts of her face were slashed. Her arms were in similar condition. The chair was situated on a pool of blood that increased by the second, as streams flowed from various parts of her body. For a moment, I thought she might be dead, but her small, sobbing motion put that thought to rest. "Yeah," said one of the men, looking at me nervously. "We didn't order pizza." He looked around at the rest of the group, as if asking what they should do next. The group of 4 stared at me. Sly smiles curled at their lips. They awaited my reaction. "Where do you think you're going?" chuckled one of the men. I realized I was walking backwards unintentionally. I let go of the pizza boxes, causing a loud thud. The girl in the chair whimpered. What was going on? Why were they all staring at me? Did they expect me to say or do something? I turned around towards the door. This time, the hall seemed a mile long. I hurried when I heard scampering behind me, but when I opened the door, a foot shoved it closed. "Was it something we said?" winked one of them. "No, sir," I whispered. "What you saw here does not concern you. You got that? You best forget it ever happened." He raised his shirt, revealing a Glock tucked in his pants. I stared in horror and nodded. "You aren't going to go running to the police now, are you?" snickered one of the women. "No, because," she continued, "if you do, we'll find you and your friends and your family." "What you saw here," said the man, "you never saw it. Got it?" I nodded. "Don't give us a reason to, give you this treatment," said the woman, pointing a finger back at the direction of the girl in the chair. "Trust me, you don't want to be in that chair." I muttered nonsensical words and noises. "Alrighty then," said the man cheerfully. He ruffled my hair. "Get on out of here." And with that, he shoved me out the door. I stood numb for a few minutes, the closed door standing behind me. A loud gunshot rang in my ears, shaking me out of my paralysis. That poor girl, I thought. I ran down the stairs, avoiding the elevator, and questions flooded me. Did they expect me to go to the police? What if this was a setup, testing to see if I'd do the right thing and go to the police? I shook the thoughts away and focused on getting home. As I approached my car in the lot, a loud whistle caught my attention. From the 7th floor, one of the men stood by the window. With a wide smile, he pointed a finger gun at me and mimicked it recoiling back, as if shooting me. He winked and walked away. I didn't go to the police. I didn't tell a soul. I went home and cried. That day marked the first step down a road of paranoia, fear, apprehension. Since that day, I have never been at peace. I have always kept an eye over my shoulder. Every morning, I wake up thinking, could this be my last day alive? Throughout the years, I've encountered people that I think may be one of the 4 I saw that day in apartment 707. In the supermarket, a stalker looks like one of the men. My heart sinks upon seeing him, and I wonder, am I imagining this? Or is that really him? At church, a woman lingers a little too much for my comfort, and I think, is she spying on me? At the post office, movie theater, park, and anywhere I've gone for the last 13 years, I see people and think, they are here to kill me. Today, I arrived home from work, stepped through the door, and headed for the living room. I reached for the lights, but before I could, the lamp on my coffee table flickered on, illuminating the total darkness of the room. A man sat on the couch. 13 years have passed, but I instantly recognized the man's smile illuminated by my lamp. It's him. He's finally come. He pulled his Glock from the exact same tucked-in place he had it 13 years ago. He pointed his gun towards my table, indicating he wanted me to sit down. He handed me a pen and paper and said, "You better make it good." I am writing this with a gun pointed to my head and eyes surveying every word I write. He told me to write my goodbyes one last time. I knew this day would come. I've been waiting. And if I am totally honest, I am at peace. It's been 13 years of fear and anxiety. For the first time since then, I can rest. 13 years ago, I accidentally witnessed a murder on a pizza delivery. And today, I pay the price. Hi, this is Maddie. I'm now 24. Recently, we have shifted to our new house. Earlier, where I used to live, there happened a very horrible incident, which is still affecting me, and whenever I remember this incident, I get goosebumps and start sweating badly. Well, this incident took place 1 year ago. We lived in an apartment, and there was a new pizza shop next to our apartment. The pizza shop had recently started. Shop handbills were visible all around, and I also thought, why not order pizza from this shop, as they had a variety of pizzas? So I ordered. I opened the door. "Sir, take your pizza." "Oh, thank you." The pizza delivery girl was beautiful, dashing, and fair. She was around 23 or 24. The behavior of Luna was liked by all the people of the colony. That's why most of the people used to order pizza from her. She became popular in the entire colony. Everyone had her number. After a few days, there was a lot of commotion in the apartment, so I went to find out. I was completely blown away. A lady was murdered in the flat below our apartment. Her husband, Johnny, 40, was crying a lot. He was recommending the police to nab the culprit as soon as possible. Oh, no. Why? Get up. Sandra. Oh, please. I love you. What happened? What's wrong? The woman who lived in this apartment has been murdered by someone. Her body was found by the police. That's why the police have come here to inquire. A murderer had killed Sandra brutally. She was tortured to death. It was as if someone wanted to take revenge on her for a long time. The murderer had taken out both of her eyes. Also, her head was banged badly many times on the wall, intentionally. The police asked a few questions to everyone and left. Everyone went towards their respective flats. So one day, when I was going towards my flat, I saw that pizza delivery girl, Luna. She was looking nervous. She was behaving differently. Hi, Luna. How are you? Hi, fine. I cannot believe that such a brutal thing has started happening in this locality, too. Very cruel. Okay, sir. Bye. For 2 days, Luna did not come to our colony to deliver pizza. I didn't know what was the matter. Maybe people were too scared because of Sandra's murder. I called Luna for pizza, but she didn't pick up. So I called Matthew for pizza. He was a co-worker and cousin of Luna. I asked Matthew about her. Matthew and Luna used to live in the same house. Hey, Matthew, where's Luna? I called her, but she didn't respond. Actually, she's on vacation. She's in her hometown, so she can't respond to you. Okay, but why are you so nervous? Is there anything you want to tell me? Yes. 3 days ago, Luna was going to the market to get some household items. When she was going down the stairs, suddenly she saw a baby girl who was facing towards the wall and was crying incessantly. Her hair was long and she was wearing a black frock. She called her several times, but she didn't listen at all. You okay, baby? And turned her face. When she saw her face, she was stunned. Her face was completely white in color, completely white, which was not normal, and she hadn't both eyes on her face. And the whole body was like a dead person. She could not speak nor could move. She was mouthing words to people near her for help, but no words were coming out of her throat. She was struggling badly. At that time, the atmosphere was quite cold and very calm. It was as if she had entered another world. And suddenly, she opened her mouth widely to eat her. Luna fainted. When she regained consciousness, she was in the hospital. Actually, she had fallen down the stairs. Luna got small injuries. I was shocked to hear that. I couldn't believe it, actually. The next day, the police came to the apartment to investigate. Do you know this pizza delivery girl? She used to come to your colony to deliver pizza. She is our suspect and she's disappeared for a few days now. Oh, how can this be? Inform us if you see her anywhere. Yeah, sure, sir. I went to the pizza shop to meet Matthew. He was not very comfortable to see me there. Tell me the truth. Police are searching for Luna. She is a murderer, right? No. Please don't say this. I don't even know where she went. I am also searching for her. On that day when she went to deliver pizza next to Johnny's house, Luna accidentally had seen Johnny killing his wife that day, but she was very much scared, so she kept quiet. She did not tell this secret to anyone, but Sandra's spirit was visible to her everywhere. From that day onwards, some strange things started happening to her. Oftentimes, someone used to ring the bell of Luna's house. When she checked, there was no one. So I was very worried about why this was happening to only her. Her spirit was troubling her a lot. She was getting mentally weak. Her spirit repeatedly asked her for justice. One day, a very loud noise started coming from the bathroom. I was cooking food. It seemed as if there was too much vandalism happening inside. The sound of Luna screaming also became very loud after a while. When I went to check, the door did not open for a long time. I broke the door. I saw that she was lying there unconscious. Someone tried to kill her by drowning her in the bathtub, but it is not known who did all that. Maybe that murderer. Why didn't you tell the truth to the police? We both were scared. We were just waiting for Luna to come. Then we both will go to the police. I was shocked. Luna was missing. Something was seriously wrong. Next day, news came from the police station, which was horrifying and gave me chills. They found a dead body, which belonged to Luna. The same day, the police came to the apartment and took Sandra's husband, Johnny, away from there. The police solved the mystery. The night Luna was killed, so the story was like this. Luna was following Johnny for the past few days, as she was disturbed by Sandra's spirit. She thought Johnny didn't know she was following him. While chasing, she reached a deserted house which was completely ruined. Luna was hiding beneath a table. Suddenly, Johnny disappeared. Then she came out. Johnny caught her by her throat. Come on, if you have come here now, then get ready to go to God. Sir, sorry, leave me, please. You are supporting my wife by gathering evidence against me. Now die. She was a cheater. And now, you are too. Johnny hit her on the head with full force, and she fainted there. For many days, he starved Luna and kept her captive. Johnny raped her many times. After 5 days, he had crushed her arms and legs with a hammer. He tortured her until she died. She was completely bloodied and crying in pain, and died. Actually, Johnny had killed his wife because Johnny's wife had an affair with another man. That's why he took such terrible revenge on his wife. And while he was doing all this with her, then at that moment, the pizza delivery girl, Luna, came over there and saw everything. We all were in sorrow and shock. And finally, with Luna's death, Sandra's soul also found peace. Johnny was given life imprisonment. Remember when you were a kid and you had a crush on someone? You would get a thrill out of walking past their house or calling them and hanging up. It was mostly girls who did that. I got a few who walked past my house then call and hang up. It used to creep me out at the time, but now I would take that over the latest girl to take an interest in me. I'm John, and this is my story of how a girl I deliver pizza to nearly took my life. It started one night when an order was placed during our final operating hours. It was my last delivery, and it was a bit of a drive, but I didn't mind. I pulled up to the respective address and knocked on the door. The person that answered it was an obese woman. She smelled as though she hadn't showered in years. Her hair was matted, and her teeth looked like they were coated in butter. I gave her my most customer-friendly smile and handed her pizza to her. Hi, ma'am. Here's your stuffed crust meat lover's pizza with extra cheese and bacon. That'll be $18.36. She took the pizza and made sure her hand touched mine. She let out a little girlish giggle. You can call me Cindy. I nodded. Sure thing, Cindy. You can come in while I get my wallet. No, thank you. It's best for our safety if I wait right out here. There had been some recent cases of pizza delivery guys going missing, so I wasn't taking any chances. She frowned. Oh, come on. I don't bite. I'm waiting here. She pouted and slammed the door shut. For a minute, I thought she was going to take the pizza and not pay. It had me wondering if I made a mistake not going inside or not. I stood there for a few tense minutes, waiting it out. About 5 minutes later, she finally opened the door. She gave me a 20, and she flashed her cleavage at me, a 5 wedged in it. Some of your tip is in that 20, but if you want the rest, you're gonna have to come get it. She let out another girlish giggle. I rolled my eyes. I'll just take this. Have a good night. What's your name? This is where I made the biggest mistake. John, I'll be seeing you again. I waved her off and headed to my car. I drove back to the pizza place, sorted out my tips for the day, and went home. The next night around the same time, we had gotten a call for an extra large stuffed crust with extra cheese and bacon pizza. Henry, my manager, hollered for me. "John, you're taking this one. Customer's request." In this industry, people didn't usually ask for a specific driver to deliver their food. Most people ordering pizza just want their food, no matter how it gets there, as long as it's fresh and hot. "Is this your fancy way of just giving it to me?" I joked. Henry arched a brow at me. "No, the customer really asked for you." "I don't want to take it. She was weird." "Time is money, John. She's given me no reason to lose her business. She paid online, so all you have to do is collect your tip." She held a 5 between her boobs and told me to come get it. "Did you?" "No. Just drive the pizza to her, and maybe next time we'll work out a tip over the phone." I hoped that there wouldn't be a next time, but something in my gut suggested that there would indeed be a next time. Then another. Then another. This customer was going to cost me more tips than it's worth. I drove out there, and it was the same ordeal. Wanted me to come in so she could get her wallet. I refused, and again handed me a 20. Except this time, 2 5s were wedged in her cleavage. "John, these are yours, if you just grab them." I ignored her and went to my car. Every day for weeks, I had to deliver a pizza to this woman. I realized that this wasn't ever going to end. So on my days off, I went looking for another job. I managed to get a job as a driver for another pizza place that paid more. The pizza was gourmet and high-end, so they were more expensive. Cindy had a $100 bill wedged in her cleavage, and when I really looked at it, I could see crumbs and bits of sauce that had to be from the time I started delivering to her. The bill had some yellow residue on it as though she used it as floss. I have never rejected $100 in my life, but that night, I would. Little did I know, she would force me to have it, one way or another. Cindy grabbed my face and shoved it between her breasts. She told me to lick off all the crumbs and sauce. I refused, and she knocked me out. I wasn't sure how much time passed when I finally woke up. I had a tape over my mouth, and my hands and feet were hog-tied together. It was dark, cold, and it smelled like death. Suddenly, I heard the creaking of a rusty door opening and heavy footsteps making their way down. Great. I was in a damn basement. A light switched on, and all around me, I saw at least 3 men tied up with chains. I recognized their faces on the missing posters put up all over town. They looked as though they had been down there for months, as that's how long they had been missing. "Johnny," I heard Cindy call out in a sing-song voice. She came down and smiled, seeing I was awake. She clapped her hands and jumped up and down. Every ounce of fat jiggled, and the stench between each roll permeated. It was so intense, I gagged. Cindy came and ripped the tape off my mouth. "Johnny, I just want you to fulfill a fantasy of mine. I just want to have sex with one pizza delivery boy. Please." "Crazy bitch! Let me go!" She slapped me and grabbed my head, forcing me to look at the other guys. "See them? They refuse to fulfill my fantasy. I won't release them until they do. Do you want to be down here, like them?" I looked at them. They looked so dirty and malnourished. And unless I gave this rotting cow her fantasy, I would be just like them. I looked up at Cindy. "Okay, if that's all you want." She smiled and brushed my cheek. "Call me baby." "Yes, baby. Let's go make all your wildest dreams come true." With luck, she believed me and cut the zip ties that bound me. She looked at the other guys. "See this? It's that easy to go home." We went all the way upstairs to her bedroom that was infested with roaches and a mattress covered in cat piss. She grabbed my face and kissed me roughly. Her breath was like someone took a shit in an ashtray. "Baby, I am really thirsty. Can I get a glass of water so that I can perform my best?" "Anything for you, Johnny." She went to leave the room and turned around. "Come with me." "Of course." With quick thinking, as we got to the stairs, I used what was left of my strength and shoved her down the stairs as hard as I could. Her body tumbled, and on the way down, her neck snapped, killing her instantly. I puked my guts out and ran down to my car, where I had stupidly left my phone, and called the cops. The other guys were rescued. I wasn't criminally charged, as my shoving her down the stairs was self-defense. It turned out that Cindy was a woman who had killed her husband that was a pizza delivery driver. She wanted to feel that connection to him again. I still deliver pizzas, but I now go through no-contact delivery.